We've reached the final of the prospective monster boxes, and I'm very excited to open the last one and finally get some rest, because these are very, very tiresome to break through. But very, very exciting at the same time. So I know these unboxing videos for the monster boxes are a little bit long, but I hope you don't mind the research that we're doing together, because this is really us researching history together, which is very, very exciting, at least for me, and I hope it's as exciting for me as it is for you guys. What's very interesting about this box, look at this. This thing did not hold up well in the mail. It's been beaten around. Every single box is shredded. And so this is the importance of why you double box items, because this thing went through a beating, even after being double boxed and really reinforced as much as humanly possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and break open the one that's easiest to break into, which is already ready to go for me. And let's take a look inside. So far, not a single authentic tube. All generic plastic tubes, which is okay with me, because that's, again, not what I ordered. I didn't order authentic tubes. They weren't marketed as authentic tubes. These were random year Prospector rounds, which most bullion retailers look at as generic. I don't look at vintage rounds as generic rounds. I don't know why anybody would, but for some reason, these are still recognized as generic rounds. And so, you know, if you're going on eBay, the people who are selling on eBay know the intrinsic value of Prospector rounds a little bit better than I think professional bullion retailers do. So, you know, it's not always the case that you will be ripped off on those websites. I guess you could say, like AppMax, I think, posted up some Engelhard Prospectors, and they're $37, which, I mean, most other stores, if they were selling Prospectors, would actually sell them for cheaper. But $37 an ounce is not unreasonable in my mind. If you end up with something like this, which is a E logo, you know, something like this is not a generic round. This is not the same as the Buffalo, which is what my local coin shop was treating it as. This E logo over here has only been minted over 3 years over the entire span of lifetime, right? So since I've been alive, since you've been alive, since your grandma's been alive, since her ancestors have been alive, this only 3 years were these minted. And actually, this is in 1984, so it's actually only 1 year that this was minted. There's only 75,000 of these that exist with the E logo. So, you know, and they're becoming increasingly rare, because this is another 1984. And the 1984 E logos are becoming even more rare, because this is another 1984, and so this is another 1984 E logo. And so what happens is, you know, when there's only 75,000, if somebody, you know, there's so many of us who like these Prospector rounds. So then, you know, here's another 1984 E logo. So now, because I like them, you know, now 5 of them are gone out of the circulation. So now, instead of 75,000, there's only 74,995 now in circulation, right? Because these have been taken out of circulation. And so now there's only 74,974. And now there's only 74,973, right? And then, you know, 92. Here's another one. 91. And so, you know, this is just one of, you know, thousands and thousands of people, probably, or maybe, you know, thousands of people who are into these Prospector rounds. You know, there's many people who comment on the channel who've been stacking for ages who have these rounds, right? And so they probably don't have any intention of really selling them, because they might just have 1 or 2, and so they're very collectible for them. And now the premiums, you know, everybody who has these rounds, who have been stacking for a while, they all tell me that, oh, the premiums are too high now on these, and I look at them as generic, so I really can't justify the price. Well, that's fine. Well, you're probably not going to sell your Prospector round, though, now at that slightly higher premium that they're selling at, right? Because that's not worth it, because then you'd have to go out and buy one for that same price, or maybe even more. So now you're going to hold on to that, and then But then other people are going to want the Prospector rounds because they understand, they start to learn about the uniqueness like I did. Like, I really like these, and so here's another 1984 E logo. And so now the 1984 E logos, since I like those so much, I love the E logos. Maybe many other people love the E logos as well, and maybe they particularly like the 1984 E logos, so they might start collecting them as well. So now that 75,000, you know, my 1,000, then another person's one, and then another 999 people's one, and then another person's 100, and then, you know, it all adds up, and now there's all of a sudden only 70,000 circulating that people are willing to get rid of, and then 50,000, and then 20,000, right? And then if you start with one of those fractional 1985 coins, where people are like, oh, well, why would I pay more than an ounce above, you know, more than spot price for a quarter of an ounce, or a half ounce, or a tenth of an ounce? Well, because there's only 50,000, or in the case of the 1/4 ounce, there's only 25,000 of those. So, you know, and I might have a couple of those 1/4 ounce, and then somebody else has a couple 1/4 ounce, and now all of a sudden, instead of 25,000 in circulation that people are willing to get rid of, there's only 50, right, that people are willing to get rid of, because everybody else wants them as part of their 1985 fractional sets, right? Everybody's trying to make those sets. So, you know, that's the thing about collectibles, is over time, people slowly get interested, and they start, I guess what I like to call is they start sweeping the floor, right? They start sweeping the floor price, and so then a new bottom is created, and that happens many times over. But you have to be patient when it comes to vintage and collectibles, because that doesn't happen immediately for the most part, right? This has been happening over the past 40 years, and people still like Engelhard Prospectors as generic rounds, and I don't know why. I think they just kind of get stuck in their old ways, and they just get very comfortable with, you know, certain things, right? They get comfortable paying their spot. But what they don't realize is inflation has been killing us, and so in order to get that same bullion to your doorstep, it will cost twice as much. So, you know, why would you be surprised if the premiums go up 100% if inflation has just resulted in the cost of everything, including you know, everything, to go up 100%? So it just doesn't make sense to me why people complain about physical bullion premiums, as long as they're within a, in my opinion, reasonable you know, range. But it is what it is. So that's 4 right there. Why don't we open up one more box? I know I've been on a big rant here, but I do want to give you guys a healthy guys and gals, a healthy sample here, and so I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, one last box, real quickly, and give you guys a nice sample, because I know a lot of you Prospector collectors are trying to get a little bit more, and just Engelhard collectors in general, just trying to get a little bit more information, and it's very difficult to get reliable information outside of allengelhard.com, because you know, where else can you go to for this sort of information? But I'm very thankful that website, allengelhard.com, exists, because it provides a lot of information on these Engelhard vintage rounds and bars. And so when you're up looking to purchase, you're able to be an informed buyer when you want to purchase some of this stuff. And you know, a lot of people try to price gouge on things that are not actually relatively as rare, and so it's important to kind of do your research before you buy anything. And so all Engelhard makes it very easy to do your research. You know, that's why we know that there's 75,000 of each design per year on the Prospectors, but since there's no serial numbers or anything, you know, you're limited. Like, you don't really know how many. That's the only form of rarity that there is. Like, the bars have serial numbers, so for these Prospector rounds, you just kind of have to go by the year, and you really don't know who's sitting on how many are out of circulation. You know the maximum, you know the worst case scenario, that it's at the very most 75,000, but you don't know anything else. Everything else is kind of a mystery, and so you just got to keep stacking. Got another tube here, looks like a 1984 E logos, which is definitely, oh no, 1984 Eagle. So got a little mixed bag here. So I'm just going to go ahead and end it on that. You've got a nice 1984 set here, both reverses. The only year that the 1984s had both reverses. So I hope you guys enjoyed this last Prospector unboxing. But hopefully I'll still keep, you know, collecting Prospectors and keep adding to that stack. And you know, when I see the deals, I'll grab them, and if I see anything interesting, I'll grab them. But I'm very, very excited to have a nice base stack. My entire base stack is really an Engelhard base stack, and I just love these Prospectors. The 100-ounce bars, I'm really starting to get into the 1 and 10 and kind of a variety of different ounce bars. But I very, very much like these Prospector rounds, and I very, very much appreciate how you know, shiny they can be. Just look at that shine there. So have a good one, everybody. Thank you.